Another day, and let's start with another round going around. But as I look at Drake, it is up here. I had an interview very early in the morning. Now it's still early in the morning. East Coast. I'm hoping it's sort of in flux whether or not they're willing to accept someone who is unwilling to relocate. But we'll see. If let's so Drake is over here. He's in kind of an interesting position. He's got a close ships ahoy. I got a ship I can go after, but I know that this just came from Spain. It's not going to be filled with treasure, so I could just shoot it and batter someone who I think is already in trouble. If I'm correct, yeah, this is the guy who already had a ship sink. So, the knowledge that I have is perhaps enough to tell that he's, at this point still. Later in the game, it's going to get more complicated. But at this point still, maybe I know he's got an empty ship and whatever. So that's not interesting. Anyway, I'm going to try to back away a little bit from dealing with the mechanisms of trying to move on this damn thing, because it's just so fucking obnoxious to me. All I'm going to do is rant about it, and deal more with the narrative that accrues from the game. And I think the narrative is going to be interesting, but this just gets in the way. After Drake fiddles on here, whoever's here, Valdez? I don't know. Doesn't need his cards. Because, well, he needed his cards to get to a land hole. Dropped here, moved into, did an exploration, found another counter that can't be played, and it won't be able to be played here. So far, nobody is able to make these counters bring any of them back on the board. But as we find more holes, more of those will show. I kind of like that mechanism of, yay, you didn't find anything legitimate, but he took a risk and moved into here figuring, I'm doing so poorly, I need to find something. And well, he did the search and then he did the move, but I don't want to continue taking risks. This is probably pretty safe, maybe. Yeah, screw it, let's do it, man. So this is second move. And if I play that like this, I can take, let's not do that. Let's play it like this. I can take a third move here. Ah! Okay. Well, Valdez is dead. He has no money, nothing else. He's out of the game. I don't think his cards disappear. Like, they don't end up back on the deck and they don't end up disappearing. But as a player, there is nothing he can do. He has no means of gaining additional cash. So these cards are just frozen out of the game, I guess. He gets his turns, but there's nothing he can possibly do with them. He has no money to buy a ship and no capability to get back in the game, which is cool. We're gonna see players fall out of the game in that way. I felt like he had to take these risks because he's so far behind due to sinking the first time. I have to say, I don't like these little chips because they don't really distinguish who's which nation, right? So, I mean, it'll eventually come to me that red, white, and blue are the English. That fits their color scheme. Does the other fit the Spanish scheme? Actually, in a way, well, red and yellow. The yellow, orange, and black, I don't know what the hell that is. But, the yellow and orange are kind of this. maybe as a black eagle or something. I don't remember. You know, you had the coat of arms on there, on the flag. This is probably the naval jack. But anyway, you know, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but maybe this is the best I could do. But I have 2 modifiers sitting here, and I have 2 movement cards. I can get to here with the 3 movement, and then I can play the 2 with the -1 to get me to here for 1, and that'll drop me down to the land ho. And I guess that's the best I can do. But it sure doesn't feel good. His exploration, found himself a nice gold mine. I'm going to move there and start sucking that in. My ship can hold 6. Conceivably, I could build a fort there to help defend the mine and leave my cannons behind. Now that we're down to 2 Spanish players, that's not so bad a payoff. This is going to cause some problems for Recalde here. In terms of decision making, someone has found something significantly better than what he has. And that's kind of troublesome. You know, another thing is, and I'm not quite sure how these defensive numbers work with forts, right? That circled number, I read through it, but that circled number supposedly adds to its defense. Now let's see how combat works. Equal to the defense of the fort and is taken in cannon. So the fort is, yeah, so I think what's going to happen is the fort has a full firepower of, like, if I left 1 cannon here, it would have a firepower of 6. Whereas I could leave a whole bunch of cannons here and it would be trading shots. Well, if I leave enough, it's powerful enough, right? Because the damage done to the ship will be equal to the defense of the fort. It's not limited to the 3 per round that ships are capped at doing. And the ships will only do 3 each to the fort. But leaving a big set of cannons here at this fort, or at a fort that I would leave there, is kind of iffy. Because Recalde can come in just fine and mine that same gold, which, you know, that might become his goal if rather than fiddle around with the silver. Now, there's a couple of things he could do. One, he could try and figure out if there's a way through the board all the way over there, or he could pop out here and come back on the landfall, depending on what his hand is like. He only comes out with a 3-card hand, though, out of here. He's already got that. Oh, crap. Now I'm here looking at Frobisher, and I said I wasn't going to do this, but, man, it's just so fucking annoying. I don't know what I did, but I basically have a choice of 4 or 5. I can only really go this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Could get me here. 3 could get me here. Okay, so these are the 2 that I would get by playing the 4 card right now. Oh, wait, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, here or here. These are the 2 I would get. That would leave me either a 5 card with a -1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or a 4 card from here without the -1. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the one I need to do. So I play the... No, wait. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, no, I can't use the -1 in both of these, and maybe I was thinking that I could. So, what if I do the 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 could get me to Ships Ahoy, but then the 4 would get me to Mutiny or to here, neither of which helps. So, whatever I did, and, you know, I played a 1 as far as I can tell. I don't know if Frobisher can make it anywhere except to the Ships Ahoy, which is not useful if nobody's floating around on the seas. Well, I'm allowed to collect cards. I'm in a clear sea. No, I'm on an arrow. I'm allowed to collect cards if I am sitting on an empty space. I'm going to be sailing short-handed, though, which just sucks. Because, so I won't be allowed to collect cards. I have to play one of these. I have no way of getting a new card, except by chancing it. So there's a good chance that Frobisher is going to end up wrecking, based on, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to move. 1, 2, 3, I move to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gets me to here. There's a 3 on top. I don't know if that's going to be there, but that's sort of one of the things that I could do is look at the cards that are available to me. Oh, Jesus. Aldi figures, well, you know, if I don't have the gold, I'm not going to be as the target for the English. They're going to go after him. So he continues mining his silver, finds another hole that I couldn't place something. By the way, there doesn't seem to be anything like, if you discard a card, a tile that you shouldn't have discarded, that's not going to end the game. That's an acceptable situation. Somebody can put it back. I guess if somebody catches and says, no, you have to play that, it's like that. You'd have to do it. You can't, you know, you can't willfully ignore the situation. But if you mistakenly throw a tile that doesn't break the board, but that could have been played, you don't get penalized. Unfortunately, I got this one, which there's nothing that's a single landmass that would hold these together. And there has to be land on these two. So you can see the board starts getting pretty holy pretty fast. Let's manage to hit this land hoe by playing around. And found himself this space with some gold in it. That's appealing. I'm going to uncover this one just for the sake of... So I can't play this because there's some water on it connecting to there, so this goes away. I could go over the shallows and fight for that gold, or I could just start mining this gold. And I don't know how big a ship I got. I got a bigger ship. Yeah, I gotta decide which way to go, but this is not... Well, this is the turn to do it. I don't know. I'm going to have the initial advantage, I think. No, so I'm going to have the initial advantage. That means I get to fire a broadside of 3. Then we each fire 3. I'd have 3 cannons left, and he'd be sunk if he sticks around. Or he could withdraw and take the lesser gold. I don't know whether or not to make the attack. Odds I do, even I don't. Alright, so we'll see a battle. So again, these two ships are now in battle. How do I represent that? I don't know. It's fine because I'm on the main, so they're just both there. So I get first drop on him, and I reveal that I have at least 3 guns, and I'm hitting yellow, this guy. So he takes a hit of 3 cannons. Now, next turn he can sail away and nothing happens, or he can stick around, he gets to shoot 3 guns at me, but then I'd get to shoot up to 3 guns if I have them left, and I do, to him. Now, I assume that the cash you have in pocket at home is equally hidden as the ships are. I don't know. So why am I putting these envelopes on top of things? Yeah, because there's nothing, there's no way to hide your bank, and there's nothing that suggests that you should or shouldn't. So I don't know. And whoever yellow is, Bazan, I make a decision to do an exploration because you do that before movement, and I get this space. I don't. Again, I don't know if this is meant to be shallows. It's not. It doesn't say shallows, so I think it's not. Plus, it has the fort here, so I think this is just land of some sort or another. Again, not well defined, but and maybe it's supposed to be shallows. I don't know. But then there's this little bit of gold here, which would normally indicate a gold mine, but I don't think there is because there's no number or anything in it. I can't stick around and fight. I'm gonna move 1-2 and start the mining operation here. If Hawkins wants to, he could hunt me down and, you know, knock my ship even further back, or he could collect up his larger amounts of gold. I don't know which way he's going to go, but I don't want to just keep fleeing. You know. Pretty soon we might have it so that all the Spaniards are destroyed, though, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. You know, for any given Englishman, for the English as a whole, I know they'll win, or one of them will win, but then it becomes sort of this race without any combat as to who can mine the most. I don't know. I don't know what kind of game that becomes. It would definitely knock a lot of the interest out of the game, right? In terms of being able to compete. And I mean, the only competition would be, hey, do you screw up dealing with this, really? Because otherwise, and also, what do you find and what do you fight for? Now, what's kind of dangerous here is, so I think he's going to just stay and take his gold. He'll get more than the Spaniard does. He'll be ahead of all the other English players. It all seems kind of good to him in that sense. The risky thing in this, though, is there's two English ready to come on the board still, and they could finish this off and get the second best prize. And then the third one could come and make this the primary prize by going in here and sharing that, and all the English just, you know, I'll be doing their mining down there, while this guy is clearly getting, you know, fourth place, but everybody else would be destroyed. Basically, he has some cash. He could launch another ship. Yeah, but yeah, it's beginning to look like there's just, I don't know. I don't know if this is sort of a situation that's almost predetermined by the game. I saw a guy, the guy who did it in German, played 4 or 5 games of it, but unfortunately, you know, I don't understand German, so I can't really tell. But I've got this vague feeling that maybe this may not be this. So the starting positions are fixed, right? The cards that you have to get yourself to the board. So this may be a very common situation where whatever you find, the English are going to come, they're going to destroy the Spaniards and force them off of it right away. Right away. Even with that 2-turn advantage or whatever, it's not enough to get the Spanish back off the board. You know, historically, the Spanish had lots of time to set up not just the Caribbean, but the Mexican gold and the Peruvian gold before the English started fussing with them. And that doesn't appear to be the case here. The thing is, you had the concept of maps, rudders, and Europa Universalis handles this pretty well. So, like, the Spaniards, at this point, at the point in the game where you're talking Recalde and Hawk, this is all explored, you know, by the time you get to these guys. Okay. Maybe this is some weird little portion that's hidden off. But, you know, the Caribbean was well mapped by the Spaniards. They knew where everything was. That doesn't mean they might not find some shoals or something that they didn't know about. But for the most part, they knew where the major land masses were and had them mapped out. The English, not so much, although by this period they had those maps as well, right? But if you were to represent this sort of period of initial exploration, the people who went out exploring brought back maps, and it took a while for those maps to be stolen or to disseminate in a way that other countries had them. And this doesn't represent that at all. It instead represents, I don't know, there's as soon as you find something, there's instant communication. The map is known to everyone. And also, you're competing at almost the same time period. So it does not feel at all linked to the history that it's meant to represent. So let's start looking at it less as a historical simulation of any kind. I mean, it's a Tresham game. You know, there's going to be a lot of abstraction and whatnot in it. And more like a Euro should be looked at. It gives some of the flavor of what might have been if the Spanish didn't discover things until like a year or two before the Sea Dogs went out. And of course, none of that makes any sense, right? The huge amount of Spanish money came from the fact that they found this stuff, and the desire for the Sea Dogs to be out there and playing around in this came from the knowledge that this wealth was already here. So the time scale is just not really, it's not clear how long each turn is. You know, that may be part of it. If turns are like 10 years, 50 years each, well, then you got a little different perspective on things. It still doesn't make any sense. Frobisher now is sailing short-handed. He was too. He should have drawn a card. I fucked up. There's no penalty for that kind of fuck up. Like, it doesn't end the game or anything, like building the map wrong would. Frobisher can go 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be bad. I'd be mutinying. Or I could go 1, 2, 3. Or I could go home. Well, so I play these two, but I get a 2 card off the top of the deck, and that's sweet because that'll get me to a land ho. You always know what your draw is going to be because it's sitting there face up on the top of the deck. It's kind of interesting. I mean, there's really weird things to consider in this game. We go over to Recalde. Recalde is not going to be able to explore under normal circumstances, but there's this piece which I can put here, and now I can put pieces elsewhere if I so desire. I don't know how much I would so desire, right? Let's take a look. What would I want to put here? Is there anything I would want to put here? This makes life hard down on this side of things, so that looks appealing. The only other piece I can play, well, that may not be true. Yeah, the only other piece I can play, I think, is this one. And I could play that here, somewhere like over here, or over here. Are there any of those that I want to do? See, the problem is any of those kind of limit me if I do explore in this direction. So I'm not going to even do that one. But this one's a kind of dicky move, and I'm in favor of dicky moves. And then I just take me another silver, and I keep piling them up down here. I'm allowed 6 total, so we'll be going home with a nice load. Before I go home, I may want to head back here and build that fort and sort of claim that stuff, at least for the Spaniards. But on the other hand, it's only fucking silver. Over here they're playing in gold. I'm going to do things right. I'm going to be landfalling with a 1 card here, but no, I'm not short-handed yet. I will be short-handed if I kept sailing, but now I get to come in here, and yeah, I'm gonna beat up on this guy, and I have at least 3 guns, so I hit this, kill its last 3 guns. I didn't do a hit on the ship, so it doesn't strike, but it can't stick around here and mine gold. Because, yeah, I am going to get picked on too. Whoever this is, Bazan, I only know their names because of the cards. I mean, I could look there and find them. It has a couple of options. I could go sail back home with nothing. Draw a new hand of cards or whatever. Or I can hope for the best in this direction. And I'm just going to hope for the best. I'll explore this space. I find a water space. I'm so disheartened. I'm going to head this way. 1, 2, 3. That's legitimate. Oh. 4, 5. There's 2 spaces I can explore from here. I don't know what my likelihood is. But now I'm away from everyone else, and maybe I'll be able to keep something I find. Who knows? Right now I'm just screwed though, and I'll be going home without cannon. Frobisher only has this 2 card. I go to the land Ho with it. I exchange it for the Drake card, which I can't keep, and then exchange it for this card because I'm short sailing. Now I land Ho. And I could go pick on him for his silver, but that seems to just help these guys. So I will land Ho here. I've got a small enough ship for the shallows. So now the British have seized all the gold mines. Not hunting the gold out here, just taking over the Caribbean. Again, something doesn't feel at all historical about this in any sense of the word. Bazan sailed his way up here. He did an exploration of this, sailed through, found this. Then I realized, wait a minute, I missed something. There's supposed to be 14 silver on there. So I sailed back, and I'm going to start mining that. Again, though, you know, the English are more interested in the gold that they found than trying to hunt the Spaniards down for what little scraps that they're getting up in the north. All around with nothing but mining going on. Now, remember, the English, maybe not all, no, some of them have 6-point ships. One of them, Frobisher here, only has a 4-point ship. So he's not going to be able to haul as much stuff. So it's not that big a deal that he went in here. But the others, it's a big deal. Drake's going to get his full 4 from here. But it would have been a big deal to let somebody take all 6 of this. For whoever the hell this is, Recalde. I abandoned my mine here and moved to here. I've got my ship loaded. And this is a big deal because I'm going to build a fort here. Now, how many cannon do I want to build? Well, not many, because I have only got 6 silver, which is 1.5 cannon worth of value off of this. But what I want to do is kind of claim this for the Spaniards. So the way I'm going to do that, I don't even know if it's worth it, but I'm going to take one of my guns and put it here on Fort 6, which is going to be built here. This becomes a 6-point firepower. Now, technically, I would need one of these to put over that cannon, and I could start moving silver into there and defend that, and that would make it so that it's really kind of mine. The other Spaniard could grab half of it on any given landing, but that's it. Half of it might be a lot, though. I did something screwy here. Drake has tons of cash in his pocket, which he shouldn't. I spent 12. That would be all of my money on my sailing, and I forgot to spend it when I bought my ships. Everyone else looks like they're okay. He's just sucked the last of the gold out. He can't leave, but that's okay. Since the order of play, I'm going to have to look how you leave. I think I can leave from from an edge space to homeward bound, draw my cards, and move all at once, but I'm not positive about that. I run upstairs, running low on battery, and I have an extra battery, like a third one, but I don't like to leave things in that. Before I look up that rule about how I leave, I came down here and I noticed my lights seem to have warmed up a little bit. These guys are all working fine, more or less, and the buzzing has gone way down. Those are still, not drawing enough power. The problem is, these are like LEDs or whatever, or the little mini fluorescents, but they should not draw a lot of power. So they react differently than I would expect normal lights to react, is all I'm saying. But there's just something weird is happening in the electricity, just in this room. Everywhere else, the power seems to work fine. I don't know. Anyway, I gotta look this up because Hawkins needs to figure out whether or not he wants to leave or he wants to explore. My exploration might be risky, though, where I'd be sailing to a place like this where I might die. So, yeah, that leaving sounds more appealing, but we'll see. The way I'm looking at this, I think Drake, because he's on the edge of the board with a C available, not like him, could just go onto the homeward bound and draw his new hand of cards. These two cannot. And unfortunately, they also can't explore. And if I wanted to like move to here this turn so that I could homeward bound next turn, I also wouldn't be able to explore. I would have to take the homeward bound choice first. I don't have a full ship because I got a big ship. I got 4 gold. That's nice, but yeah. But remember, I bring that back and that's worth double, so it's worth 8. Ooh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I think I'm going to avoid the risk and just move to here. Oh, wait. I could beat up on that yellow ship. Huh. That's the guy who's screwed. Let's go sink him. And he has no cannons. So my first shot sinks him. I take prize money, which will be filling up the rest of my hold. Yellow is not out of the game yet. He's close. And his ship will go away. And yeah, he can build another ship if he wants. But it'll just be a little guy out there to, probably go mine this silver or whatever. But the Spaniards are just screwed, basically. Frobisher, should I stay or should I go? He's only gotten 2 gold out of his hunt. I could move to here and be the first to get that home. and maybe upgrade something. Or I could sail over to here like he did and start mining silver for the extra couple pieces. That would be an extra gold. I don't know what the answer is. So odd I stay, even I go. The nice thing about it is I can do some overland exploration or lay some pieces so that I can continue exploring. But I don't know if that's what I want to do. I'll stay. Oh, excuse me. Choking on my pipe running out. And yeah, whatever. And that puts me to the last player. Things are kind of easy. He gets to do an exploration. I'll take this because it's hard to take. And then I'm not on the edge. That would have to be sea off this way. So I sail to there where I'll get to go home. We're going to be looking at some new things coming up next turn. Let's see. We're going to have people heading home for the first time, here and here. He's going to do a new ship, which we've seen already. And yeah, yeah, that's about it. So it seems like my light is buzzing again and a little dimmer. And the other one worse, but I don't know. Yeah, worse, I guess. I don't know. Anyhow, to Drake. He's got a full load here, close enough, 4 gold, which will turn into 8 when he gets home. And I'm going to try to leave. Now, I'm allowed 3, I must have 3 functional cards. I draw up to that. Currently I have 2. They're not great. It doesn't look likely that I'm going to make it home on that. And I have this as well that I get for free. Putting a Frobisher on the top. I'm not thrilled about this, but there really isn't much I can do. Okay. So now I can move to, I come out here, I can move to Chips Ahoy, but there's nobody to attack, so no real point to that, particularly. If I come to here, I can move 2 and then bump 1, then I'd be in an empty sea and I could draw cards, or is it exchange them? No, it's just draw. So I could pull the top of the deck. Now, if it's the Frobisher, I get whatever's under that. I don't remember. So I think, actually, I'd get this back. So I'm going to move here. I'm not going to play my modifier. I shift in, and, you know, it's getting me in the general direction. I don't have a deck that tells me I can get home. Which is, so one thing, except maybe that you get more and more used to using this as you continue playing the game. One thing that clearly was a factor in the reality was that the various winds that were required at different times to move in one direction or the other, and the paths that best took advantage of those winds were learned over time. That's not a facet of the game itself. It's a facet of as you play more. It might be baked in a little bit into the decision on when to draw from here, though. So I don't know, but I would say it's not really designed as a part of it. Now I'm allowed to hit landfall, I think, without falling on the land. I hope. Am I? Well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be drawing a card because I need to be able to shift more quickly than that. All right, and we skip him and move on to Hawkins, who I don't know. Oh, he's gathering some silver. He and Frobisher can both gather silver. I've got 4, 5, 6 of a load, so I don't particularly wish to. I get to move, which means I can draw, I can do an exploration here, or I could set more tiles in play. Let me think about that, because filling this and maybe here might give me an entree into the center of the Caribbean in a way that I'd like. Drake has decided to fill in a lot more of the board, basically using all the pieces, not illegally, I hope, because that could end the game. This was kind of a key one. It gets entry from this direction. This kind of blocked off what I was hoping to do, but it was the only piece I could play there. And I just figure, let's get a lot more established. I'm not sure it really helps, but this isn't Drake, this is Hawkins, right? Yeah. And then I can set sail. It doesn't really matter where I go. Oh, this would be illegal. Can't play that piece. And that was a piece I really, really wanted. Oops. Could this piece have gone there? No. I'll leave this as it is. Somebody flagged that I'd already chosen. Screw it. It didn't go long enough to cause any problem in the game. Now, this guy will win if players screw up the board now. I don't need any more silver, and I can go home however I like. I'll go into the shallows because, hey, what the hell. Facing the first sailing, no, this is the second, I guess. Sailing from the home port, that's a new draw. It's Bazan here. I don't remember doing this before. I assume I did. He's got a draw, let's see, 4-card minimum. This is just a modifier, so it doesn't count. So that's 1. Frobisher gets 1. That's Frobisher, isn't it? I think so. Looks blue. 2, 3, 4. And now I've got a puzzle, you know, how I'm gonna use these cards that I didn't really know what I was gonna get. But if my memory was good enough, again, huge amounts of hidden trackable information in this game. It's all about that. The stack, you know, is this one big piece of hidden trackable information. But if you track it, A, you'll make the game last, you know, significantly longer, and it'll be a pain in the ass. And B, you've got a real issue in terms of, you know, being able to figure out, well, do I want to leave port this turn, that kind of shit. Just because you know too much. I like the idea of, I have a vague concept that this would be a bad turn to leave, so I won't. I don't like the idea of I can calculate out whether or not, you know, I'll have a good move afterwards. My cards, I have a bit of a weirdness here. So I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1 less by playing my modifier. That 5 then puts me in a position where I could do 2 2s to get to a land ho. So 3 turns to make it. Another option would be to play my modifier, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back 1. That'll send me up 2. I've used these. I know I wasn't planning on doing this again. Then I play a 2 card that can get me to lee gauge, which doesn't really hurt me unless I'm in combat at the time that I hit there. And then a 3 card. That gets me also to land ho, but maybe not as well. Now wait, yeah. I think I'm better off heading just the straight way. Either way, I'm going to be putting that big 5 on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Interesting situation here. Recalde decides to come out. Now he's got his hand full already. 3 cards. He doesn't get any additional draws. But if I move a 3 here, I can engage Drake immediately. That means I get a round of combat against Drake's ship. I get to fire 3 cannon. I have 5 on board because I left 1 with this fort. I don't know that Drake has no money, but the English are kind of risky. I'm going to take a shot at it. Now, if Recalde loses this situation somehow, things are more problematic because he'll end up. Let me peek at Drake. I shouldn't be doing this. Yeah, see, I wasn't sure whether he had lost any guns in fighting. But anyway, which is something I would know. Now, what I don't know is how many guns he had initially, but I could have told from this. But by making the attack, I think I get the advantage out of it because, let's see, I do 3 immediately. Let's say he has 3 guns left. Next round, he does 3 shots to me, then I do 2. I think I'm going to take him out, assuming he doesn't break away from the combat. So, we'll play that 3. We make it to here. And we fire on Drake. Now, they could come to some sort of agreement or something, but without really understanding what all the consequences are, it's hard to figure out what is a reasonable agreement. And yeah, oh, this is the fort. Okay, which is under Recalde's command. And now we get back to Drake, and now this is where things get interesting. Drake is on the high seas. He still has to play a card or play the high seas battle out. They're engaged, and I don't have an easy way to delineate that. My cards could get me away. Right? I think I can landfall. I'm not sure. Ship Ahoy isn't going to help me. I'm not sure what else I could do. I could sit there and draw a card and get a 3 card, which wouldn't really help. If I do that, I'll be trading 3 shots, and, well, I see the fort, so I know he has at least a cannon, which means I'll be taking 2 back. I can't win the battle. Let me see if landfall gets me out of the battle. It does. Landfall will get me out of the battle, and I think that's my best solution right now. So I'm going to hit that, playing one of these. I don't get a draw, so I'm not short-handed yet. And I don't know where to drop. Kind of doesn't matter. Let's drop here and explore this space. And you must play a tile if you can in this case. You don't have to fill all those out if you choose that. That means I can move a space. Might as well, because it improves my exploration capabilities on a later turn. But yeah, we had to flee because of Recalde. But Recalde didn't get the advantage. Now, if he can get into the landfall, he can drop onto here and take another shot at Drake and force him to strike. For Drake, Hawkins is next. He's leaving. He gives Drake a card. He has only modifiers, so I will get 1, 2, 3 cards and bring another Drake up on top. Now, that brings me to the Homeward Bound, and it's time for me to figure out what I can do, which might be sinking Recalde. Thing, Hawkins doesn't necessarily want to take Recalde out of the game because the Spaniards are in really shitty position at this point. However, if I buzz past him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to here, I'm now a potential target. I get the extreme advantage if I fire first. So, yeah, I'm going to hit Recalde, and I hit him with 3 cannon. I'm not going to have enough. You don't take prizes in this game. Another little pity. I mean, there's a lot here that's just, you know, sort of, hey, it's thematic, but not really representing any kind of reality. So now we have a new battle between white and orange. And I really ought to represent these with little pieces to help remind me. Right now it's easy. It might not be after they move off the space. So keep it in mind. I may end up marking things over here that there's a battle ongoing. I guess it's Frobisher here. On his move, he grabbed another silver. Should be loaded up now. And he's only got a 4-point ship. And played this piece out of there because it was playable when nobody played it. And he's like, well, fuck it. I might as well. Now, this is interesting. This shows a fort, and it's in the middle of the water, which, again, makes me wonder if shallows, if this counts as shallows. I could analyze that and figure it out by looking at the counter mix and get the answer to that. Unfortunately, I'm in the middle of playing now and don't really know, but I'm of an opinion that this is probably meant to be an area you can transit from. Because otherwise, what is it? Beaches? You know? So from now on, we're going to play the white stuff as shallows no matter what. How many shallows are there? Does that make sense? Yeah, I don't know, because we got 1, 2 showing here. Yeah, I really don't know. And again, if it doesn't say shallows, it might still supposed to be. Does this tell you? Yeah, this tells you there's only 3 shallows in the low ground. This shows you 3 shallows in the low ground. So that would mean that all 3 of these are these are the 3 shallows that are in the game. These 3. That can't be, because this would be a shallows as well. So those cannot be shallows. Unless something was done wrong, either not just there, but in the appendix as well. So I don't know. Yeah, I was doing it, as far as I can tell by the appendix, I was doing it correctly. I would be tempted, though, to change these to shallows if I play this ever again, which is highly in doubt. unless somebody, and I have a buddy who's I've got actually 2 buddies who've got this as well, just to show you the weird kind of group that we have here. I actually know almost no gamers in the area. And the 2 that I know best, who happen to watch my videos or watch them before we knew each other, now that they know me, they don't want to. No, but they happen to watch my videos, and I think they both own it. I'm not sure. And they're different copies or whatever, like different versions of it. Either that, or one owned it and the other bought it from him, which is another thing that happens quite often. Anyway, remember, orange and white are in a battle. Right now that's obvious because they're in the same space, but just moving off that space doesn't change that. And unfortunately for me, my cards don't really get me out. I could go 3 to homeward bound. That doesn't allow me to land back here. It's not just a reversal. I have to actually hit land fall or land ho. 3 here would get me to there. And those are my only options with the 3 card. The other card I have is my 6. Can't use that in anything except 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now that gets me a long way towards home, which is of some interest. But doesn't win me the battle. Which means I fight my round of the battle, where I show 2 cannons. We're hitting this guy. He loses 2. That'll get him to 4. There's a cost to fighting. But he's got 3 left. He will sink Recalde. 2 hits here, 1 here. That doesn't knock Recalde out of the game. I get to seize as much of the silver as I wish, which is, I think, none of it. I think I've got a full load on this ship. Who am I fighting? I'm fighting white. Orange is off the board. Is he full? He has a full ship already. Again, I didn't necessarily want to fight this battle. I didn't necessarily want to sink him since it cost me something, but it was too dangerous to put myself in a position where he could get first shot. So, yeah, the battle's over, so I don't have to worry about tracking its existence anymore. And there we go. Now, there aren't really good moments to say it's a good time to stop the game, to stop and load up the game, because stuff is always kind of up in the air in this game. It's not like, there's the end of a round. That's the best we have. And I could stop this now. Is there any real reason for me to do another one? I mean, one of my thoughts is, well, let's get everybody home, but there's no fixed point of everybody's home, it's good, It's not like Conquistador is what I'm thinking of, where you send ships out. Of course, that's got a fixed turn order. You send ships out, they do stuff on the board, and then they go home. But everybody's doing it simultaneously. It's not like some ships are off at sea, some ships are here, some are at home, all at the same time. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Okay, anyway. I think I need to use the restroom at the very least, and then I guess we'll do a little bit more. So we're sitting here in a weird kind of position, and unlike some of the other situations, I can't tell for sure. I mean, I can reason out that I know this, that there can't be any guns on this ship. Because I'm not worried about white. That's Hawkins. He's on my side. But this is a Spanish ship, and Drake would like to just head home. I'm going to give him odd. He takes the chance of going home, i.e. he knows that this is safe. Even, I may go over here and, I'll continue to play in the main in order to give the Spaniards some more time to get away from me, because I'm down in guns. The ship's down to 3 guns. But again, it's a matter of how much attention he's paying. All right. So he knows he's safe, and he really should, which means we do our thing. We have 2 real cards. I pull a Recalde and give it over to him, and then I get this. That gives me only 4 moves. Not exactly what I would like. It could go back to a landfill. Ship ahoy! I could attack the Spaniards. That's not going to help. It's an empty ship. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I've been misplaying, I think. the ship that struck should still be out here. That was Ricaldi. He still has his ship. I think it was a 6. You don't sink from being attacked. Has anybody been sunk by... I don't know if this guy got sunk by being attacked. Shit. Yeah. Okay, so that was a definite misplay. So he should be... Who he came from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's out there with the cards he has. Okay. Yeah, that feels a little wrong to me, because privateers didn't just like grab the stuff off the ship and say, yeah, ta-da, see ya. They took the treasure and either sunk the ship or took the ship. And those are the questions, not, oh yeah, you're fine. I'm gonna assume the other guy, this guy I know sunk, clearly. This guy, I'm not sure. He may have been sunk by fighting, and technically should not have been destroyed by that. Of course, it might take you longer to get home, but at least you have a ship still, and your ship is a fair investment, $6. Instead, I could put 4 more cannons on that. Whoa, bye. Run, 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 run. Someday one of them's just going to smash into a window or something. They seem to be aware of the house. But I'll leave that mistake as it is. This one I could fix. And I would know that this ship is gone. But now for my movement, I don't know. I can draw a card if I land here, which is probably not too bad. So I'll go 1, 2, boink. Of course, I've just put that 2 back on top. It would be kind of useful for me to put a 1 on top. Anyway, whatever. All right, onward. But yeah, so I actually fear that this guy got shot down, but I can't repair that. I could give him his ship and his guns, but he wouldn't be home yet. So whatever. But you can't, as the English, make sure that there are no Spanish players left anymore, unless you chase them into a situation where they sink themselves. One was sitting here. I've got a 2 and a modifier of -1. Allows me to do a landfall. Put my own card underneath. That's how it has to go. And I could go right here, but why? Well, because he could pick on me if I have treasure. So I will land here. I'm going to move to under the guns of the fort. That allows me to explore. Oh, look. I found something interesting. No, I can't explore. That allows me to explore next turn. And I will start discovering the silver. But that gold, when I expose it, I'm going to want that instead. And what is this? His remaining card, I guess. Such a pain. And then what we've been seeing a lot of, this is a 4 ship with 4. Okay, it's time to head home. Things get weird. So Ricaldi, who I thought was destroyed, but is sitting here with these 2 cards. Great. I could stop and pick up this 2. Okay. But that 2 would give me, well, a lee shore is great, except I'm not close enough to make it into port because I wouldn't have a 1-point card and I'd sink. That would suck. The 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't go this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could go this way. Maybe get close to landfall again. The 3 is either here or 1, 2, 3 here. I think this is my best move. And now I'm sailing short-handed, which is of course dangerous. I need to draw a 5 or something, but you know, on a bad draw, I could end up in a really ugly circumstance. This here has a kind of crappy hand too, a couple modifiers in this. I'm short-handed, I must sail. I could play my modifier. I'm not sure what purpose there is to that. It's not really taking up any space in my hand, so I'll go to here. But that gets me another deuce. Now another deuce is great, that'll get me home, which is where I want to go. But you can see where you're kind of at the mercy of things once your hand starts depleting. And when your hand isn't depleted, you're at the mercy of your hand, which may be very hard to make work. Aunt Bazar, or whatever his name is, decides to evacuate the fort and go here, get himself some gold. I may go back to the fort and load up on the silver from the mines, but right now it's like somebody could steal this if I if I leave it out there. Let's do a new hand because he's taking off, so he gets 1. He gives 1 to Bazan. He gets another. Remember, 3 functional cards. Now I'm here. I have some gold, but I also have some crappy silver. If I could slide back down into here, that might be worth doing. To drive him off, take that extra gold. We'll see whether or not I can arrange that. I'd need to get to landfall. 1, 2, 3, 4 is my movement. What the heck? So we go down here. Now I'm allowed to explore. I'll explore this space. And I move over to here. He's not under the guns anymore. And we're going to fight. Well, he has nothing, so he surrenders. He has nothing, so he loses nothing. And we'll start searching for that gold now instead. I said before, even though Recalde is sitting here, he's short-handed. He only has 1 movement card. He must play it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could head back this way, and then I'd end up with a 4, which probably isn't going to get me anywhere. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and end me up with a 4 that I'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, almost required to play that. So this is the safer way for me to move. And I shouldn't be exposing these. You should get a little card caddy or something like that if you're going to play this, so you don't spill the cards out like I just did. Because, again, it's a game about memory in a lot of ways, and it's got to be that. This makes it back home, and interesting stuff happens. So the sequence of play, I had to check this, actually has you land the treasure at this point, not during your normal home phase, which is the earliest part of your turn. And so we get end of turn activities, interest on investment. I don't have one. Oh, you know, shit. People could have played investments with their others. The bank will pay interest of 1 silver for every 5 gold pieces and 2 silver for 10 gold pieces. Yeah. So nobody kept enough money in reserve, but the Spaniards actually had enough money initially. They could have gone with a smaller ship and invested some money. And then they'd produce a little bit of silver each turn, which adds up pretty quickly. You know, let's say they put their 5 gold in place. Everybody's got 4. It would mean a smaller ship, but whatever. If they got 5 gold invested, and I guess that's just money that's kicking here, counts as it. So it's something to keep in mind, is that you could start accumulating more and more cash. But I land treasure. Who is this Hawkins? So he has just landed 4 gold, which turns to 8, and 2 silver, which turns to a gold. And I could sell my ship and cannon. I don't know if I want to. Does a small ship make sense still? Yeah, let's sell them. So I get another 10 money for these. Now the only reason not to sell is, hey, you might be limited by counter mix in terms of the ships that are available. But I'm not going to figure too carefully. I have to think a lot about what I'd be doing. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a reason that I might want to keep 10 gold here to get 2 silver every turn from my investments. Again, something to consider. Sure here. Wanted to mine that gold. In order to fit it on my ship, though, I got to drop a silver behind. So now there's a treasure chest, as it were, sitting here. Oh, this wasn't even a mine. This was a treasure chest. I hope nothing else is. Yeah, everything else looks like a mine. A treasure chest is important because you can lift the whole amount at once. In this case, the amount was 1, so who cares? Caught that I fucked up. He doesn't have a legitimate card. He's not at sea, so it's not that big a deal. But this card Drake took, he would have gotten, I guess. I don't know. I'm just going to say screw it and leave the mistake as it is. Because if we were playing this, you know, if I was playing this opposed. But here's the thing. Whatever rule you come up with for how to correct a situation like this, if it doesn't completely unwind everything and correct everything and let you start, you know, let other people make their decisions afterwards, it could be misused. So, you know, maybe I didn't want that card. You know, maybe that card was not helpful to my plans, and I know the sequence below that card and it's perfect for me. And so I just don't admit to wanting a draw without knowing, having to expose whatever to everybody else what your cards are. There's no real watch on whether or not you did something like this sitting here with 2 modifiers. Now, it's clear that I have 2 of my own card. But, yeah, I almost feel like you'd want to play this on Vassal or on the computer or with a game, you know, referee or something to make sure that everybody's playing correctly and not cheating, intentionally or otherwise. There's a fix built in for the map cheats, however iffy it is, but there's no real fix built in for other things that, you know, hey, look, you screwed with the, you somehow messed around with the deterministic system that the game is based on. And okay, all games allow for errors, but whatever. All right, I got to decide what kind of ship I want and what I want to do with it. And the question there is, hey, do I need to deal with shallows? Is there something I want to go get? And I think the answer is, I can go grab a bunch of silver and or do some exploration. And it's probably worth me building a pretty big ship. What's the biggest ship, or what kind of ship can I build with the English? I can only build, or I'm the only one who can build 10s. I can't build 14s. Given that there are no Spanish ships that are terribly dangerous, I actually decided to go with a smaller ship in order to gain the advantage of interest income. I'm going to be able, and also then I have cash at home if I need to relaunch a fleet. Now I need to draw 4 functional cards from the top of the deck. 1, 2, 3, people are getting their hands back for, hey, there's mine, damn it. And now I get to launch and make my play with, you know, whatever I've got. I don't have a lot of fast movement. There's only one move. I can move to here, which would mean I have to go back to port immediately. 1, 2, 3, I could go to here. This is safe. Here I'm dismasted. That's not particularly good. I've got -1s, so I could bop myself down to here with like a 2 and a -1, but I don't know how much that really helps me. So, yeah, I'll blow this. But again, that's covering up my card, which makes me kind of unhappy. And at the end of my turn, I get a silver piece. Yay. Undoubled. Orange here has a 2 and a 6. A 6 would bop me all over the damn place. The 2, though, gets me to land Ho. I can't use that to land on an explored space, though. Which means I'm opening myself up to some risk with... Is that... That's not right. Okay, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I've decided to go exploring again because going home looked too hard, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah, jeez, I don't know. I wanted to go home, get some cannons. I was sitting here. What happens? What are my choices? What are my options? This part is just so fucking hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got no. I got this as a bonus, so now I'm no longer short-handed, which is kind of nice. Short-handed, I probably would have wanted to go back here. Take my chances. But I could draw a 3. What's that going to do for me? I don't know. But from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, I don't really want to be short-handed. So I guess I'll draw that 3 and see what happens. All right. We're going to stop here for a bit, and that'll let me load this up, and I'll come back with some more play of this thing. I honestly don't think the Spaniards have a really good option from what I've seen so far. Now, because, you know, you're programmed with those initial cards, etc., and they set the English up to start poaching the Spaniards fairly early on, one way or another. But maybe it has to do with the particular order and speed with which treasure's been found so far. So I don't know for sure, because there is definitely randomness in terms of what you find here. There's no question about that. Kind of like in a game of 2038. I was going to say, oh, the whole game is, you know, kind of without luck. No, or I did say that. But no, that's not the case. The exploration facet of the game is very much luck dependent, and it can cause you to, oh look, lose the game. Why did he lose 2 ships? Yeah, that's a good question. That second ship may not have supposed to have been lost. Maybe somebody got hunted or something. I don't know. Again, it's very likely that I'm going to screw things up all over the place. There are so many new concepts in this, and the idea of ships being invulnerable if they have no cannons on them and no treasure is part of my problem there. Okay. That when I say my problem, I don't mean, oh, I'm just railing on that same issue as, well, that's just unrealistic or whatever. No, it's actually when you have things that don't match realistic expectations of what would happen, you're less like if the rules don't match realistic possibilities, and that realism can be applied better by like some other explanation than what the rules give, it's very likely that I will make the mistake of doing things not according to the rules, but according to reality. This isn't me trying to deliberately modify a game or anything, although sometimes I will do that. With this, I don't think that's possible. But if you don't simulate, if you don't model the actuality, if you come up with magical type stuff that I can't explain easily, it's harder for me to remember what the rules are about, right? In some cases, like a game like Agricola, I'm constantly having to look things up in terms of, because none of it makes a damn bit of sense to me, right? But in something like this, a lot of it makes sense. A lot of it seems tied to reality, but not ghost ships, that are invulnerable. So I just sort of assume I'm less annoyed by the game as a whole, because rather than other Euro-ish type things, because this is. Sorry, my battery is giving me problems. But, this seems like this weird gamey type thing. Okay, but in a sense, it gives you a means of playing tactically. Kind of reminds me of the battle cards in We the People and in Hannibal when those early CDGs came out. And I'm glad We the People got rid of it for Washington's War, because it was just so fucking gimmicky. Yes, there's a lot about the game that's gimmicky already, but in terms of the Go-like surrounding and stuff. But here, so you just kind of write that off and you say, okay, well, this is just a gamey part of this whole thing. It's not trying to simulate anything. Kind of like Maria and Friedrich, the combat cards. It's like, yeah, you can do some hand-wavy type explanations why it makes sense, but it's the same as like, why I can turn pigs into rocks or something. I mean, it's just goofy, right? I'm making all kind of shit up to get in the way, to be able to try to explain the game. And it's not going to help me understand the game. But here, these ghost ships, they're so antithetical to my understanding of reality and the game. So much of this part of the game and the combat part and whatever does relate somewhat to reality. So it's very hard for me to remember that role. Now, obviously, with more plays, you get used to the idiosyncrasies of a game like this. All right. Now for real, it goes up.